Hey everyone, my name is Jeremy Lee. I'm the executive producer for League of Legends. Riot Games was founded to be the most player-focused company in the world. Our flagship title is League of Legends. League is a very popular game. It's over 10 years old, has 180 million monthly active users. I just came from Busan this weekend where I watched the MSI tournament for League of Legends. Seeing the arena full of cheering fans and the excitement when Faker gets a kill, it's such an incredible feeling. It's something that I've missed for the last few years of not having in-person events. And it reminded me of kind of the birthplace of esports. I remember this was over 10 years ago, about a huge StarCraft tournament in Busan. Over 100,000 people, I think, were there at the time. That's always something that I'm like, maybe we can get there someday. We haven't done it yet, but it's a goal. I love Busan. I went to the beach, Hyundai Beach. What is it? 해운대? Yeah. Thank you. It started when I first played Nintendo Entertainment System, the original NES. I had Super Mario Brothers, Zelda. The idea of being transported to this other world where you could be heroic or face danger, it was very exciting for me. I dreamt about one day making a game. I didn't think though that was possible. I didn't understand how games were made. I grew up in a small town. A neighbor came over one day. We had gotten an Atari, which was a very old video game system, and he programmed the Atari to say his name over and over, and it scrolled on our screen and it wouldn't stop, and it was just his name over and over. And I thought, oh, you can program things. That was kind of like a light bulb moment for me. So I decided I should become a programmer. So I studied computer science, I studied to be a programmer, all just with the goal of, okay, I'm gonna make games. As soon as I could, I got a job as a programmer in the games industry. Before Microsoft, I worked at a small third-party developer called The Collective. The Collective was a game studio specialized in sort of action-adventure games, but I was a terrible programmer. I was not good at it. And I started looking around, okay, who else makes games and how do they do it? I realized, oh, there are artists, animators, and designers, QA, and researchers, and marketers. There's this weird job called producer that seems to know a little bit about everything and helps everyone come together to make something. I went to my manager and I said, I think I want to do the producer thing. And he said, great, you are a terrible programmer. I'm so glad you want to do something else. Go do that. Yeah, luckily, that was how I first started in production. That was 20 years ago. Before Riot, I worked at Microsoft. When I was at Microsoft, I got to work on some really exciting projects. An R&D project called HoloLens. That is a mixed reality experiences that we developed for that when it was in its prototype phase. I was working in a field that was very, as you put it, futuristic. Thinking about a mixed reality or augmented reality or virtual reality. There is a lot of exciting ideas and technology that's happening in that space. But for me, the thing that felt really kind of futuristic was making games that focused on what players wanted. I had worked on big console games and I had worked on new technology, but I had never worked on a game that was global and always on and always updating and always in service of the best experience for players. To me, that was something no one else but Riot. To me, that sounded like a dream come true, and I wanted to join Riot to be a part of that. Working on League of Legends can be a lot of pressure. We've been updating League of Legends for over 10 years, every 2 weeks. The way that we've been able to be successful for the last 10 plus years is by focusing on doing what's best for players. The game is a constant conversation with our players. There are always things that we could do better, and we're getting feedback on what that is. And there are things that players like that they want more of. So we want to make more of those things for players. It's what keeps the game fresh. The real reason is that we want to make the game better as much as we can. The best way to do that is to update the game based on their feedback. The fastest we can do that is put a patch out with some changes, get player feedback for a few days, design some changes for a few days, get it into testing for a few days, and then we release it and the cycle continues. It's hard to do any portion of that faster than 2 weeks. Sometimes we'll try to convince players that like this maybe is the reasoning why we did something, because the game has to evolve over time. But at the end of the day, our goal is to focus on what players want. The mood on the team was disappointed that something that we were really excited about didn't work, but not angry or upset about it, because it just means that we've got to get to work and focus in on what would be a better experience for players. And that's what we do every day anyway. I can give the advice that helped me, which was to be curious, learn about all of the options out there, find out a little bit about what a 3D artist does and what a game engineer does, an animator and a designer. The more you expose yourself to the possibilities, sometimes just understanding how all of those different pieces come together is some of the best training and best understanding you can get about what it means to make games. I love to understand how an artist thinks about creating art, how an engineer approaches difficult engineering problems, and what goals the designer has in the game. I like understanding those perspectives and helping them come together to make something as a team instead of individual pieces. I'm doing everything I can to make the best work environment, to make the most creative, fun team possible, because I think that also makes the most creative and fun games for players. Fun environment and a team having fun creates fun games. I am happiest when my team is happy. We can focus a lot on the problems in the game. So I try to strike a balance between having big challenges for us, but also taking time to laugh and taking time to have some fun. Having a way of bringing in interesting information and diverse ideas and inspiration from everywhere. You know, at Riot Games, it's through our colleagues often. Our colleagues have different backgrounds and experiences, but also through our players. And having this ability to take in all of this and sit with it and try to make something cohesive out of it. Try to make sense of all of these different inspirations and decide what it is that like you keep and what you cut, and how you iterate on that idea over and over and over again until it's never perfect, but until it's good enough to get feedback on, to put it out in the world and say, what do you think? I think that's the only way I know how to make something. I have been playing League for about 8 years. The top rank I got was gold 4. I keep telling myself, okay, I'll get back there. I'll get back to gold. Korean players are some of the most dedicated and passionate League of Legends players. It's true that the server, for example, we were talking earlier about how gold in the Korean solo queue server is like diamond in the NA server. And we were joking about that, but it's kind of true. The dedication and the desire to be getting better and challenging yourself and improving, I think, is one of the core traits that makes you successful at League of Legends and at life. The most famous and successful League of Legends player is Faker. Well deserved. Faker's success changed everything. My parents know Faker. It demonstrates the possibility that being a pro gamer is a real thing. You can achieve success. You can be famous like any other athlete in any other sport, and it's something that we can aspire to. My longtime dream for the game industry is to have gaming be a meaningful life pursuit, whether that's as a player or as a game creator or just someone that wants to watch a movie with really cool characters in it. Maybe those characters are based on a game. Arcane was a love letter to League of Legends players, something that we spent a lot of time trying to make sure we got just right, because these champions are so important important to us and to our players who've been thinking about this world that these champions live in for a very long time. We released in 190 countries, all at the same time across the world. It became the #1 Netflix show in a single day. We were most happy about was the response from players who had been asking for us to make something, a story in the League of Legends universe that they could watch with their friends and their family. Whenever I hear that it's been loved for more than 10 years, it gives me pause for a moment because it's amazing to consider that. What's our secret, the recipe for that? It's not secret, it's just difficult. The game itself over the last decade hasn't changed its core experience. The thing that also hasn't changed about the game is our desire to focus on player feedback and make the game alongside players. At the end of the day, gaming being part of our lives, I think, is the dream.